From 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for 2 hours of live stream writing accountability, followed by our half-hour max-ish share what you did wrap-up chat. Now, I say most mornings because got a new work schedule at my job, but I have a tentative schedule for getting more regular with this. Now, if you are new to this live stream, the way this works is that you can keep the stream open in a separate window, separate tab as background noise as though we were in a shared digital workspace. Then for the first 2 hours, when just writing is getting done, you are encouraged to use the chat not as a place to proactively interact, though, I mean, you can certainly chat with each other, but I'm not going to be interacting with the chat. I'm simply encouraging you, if you are engaging in the writing accountability practice, to use the chat as a place to log what it is you're working on and what exactly you're getting done, what tasks you're accomplishing, you're completing in service of that larger goal. Excuse me. So that's your side of accountability things. My side of accountability things is that you can see the video live feed of me with my butt in the chair getting things done. And the other half of my side of the accountability is that, as you can tell, I am sharing my entire screen so that you can see what I'm working on as I'm working on it. And that number that you see below this video, 2.064/65, means that this is our second round of 100 days of morning writing. Specifically days 64 and 65 combined, because I do have a new work schedule and it is thrown off the pre-scheduled numbers of the days. So yeah, anywho, so you get to be accountable by putting things in the chat. I get to be accountable by sitting in the chair on a live feed while also screen sharing my work. As you can see, also as I'm screen sharing my work, I'm not able to see the chat. I have the chats open in separate tabs, but during the morning writing, I'm not going to be interacting directly with the chat. That's by design. I have OCD. If I can see the chat window, if I had it open in a separate window in any capacity, I would not be getting any writing done, because even if there's nothing in the chat, my focus would 100% be on trying to keep myself ever at the ready in case something does pop into the chat, which just know. That's why we have the wrap-up chat, so you can log what it is you're working on, you can talk to each other in the chat, and whether you are writing along or just watching along, you can pop into the chat any comments and any questions you have regarding your creative projects, my creative projects, and the creative process in general. And then at 11 o'clock, when the wrap-up chat begins, I'm going to first give a brief summary of what all I got done, which I track in a Google spreadsheet on my end. Just double check everything's going where it's going. So I have a Google spreadsheet here. As I'm getting things done from this list, it gets cut and pasted into this column. And so during the wrap-up chat, I'll give a brief summary of what all I got done accountability-wise, and then I will pop into the chats and respond to every comment and every question, whether it's about just as an accountability partner, acknowledging the work that you got done this morning, or just in terms of carrying the conversation regarding all the comments and questions of your projects, my projects, and creative process. And any topic discussed in the wrap-up chat, I keep a log on, and I save it for potential topics of a podcast that I'm going to be working on as soon as my work schedule, the work schedule for my new job, goes from tentative to completely set, and I can better manage my time both in the mornings and in the afternoons to get all the writing done when I'm not over there. All right, so I believe that is all for the starter spiel. I do apologize for the late start this morning. I was up very late last night playing with the new toy, so I'm also going to be a little slower than usual in my movements and confused. You can see what staying up later than I should has done to me already. Let's get some work done. Let's do that. so spoiled. That's what's going on here. I'm spoiled. Jesus Christ. And it's 11:09. All right, that means it's time. Maybe don't break things. You've just gotten them, Rose. Don't break the new toys. All right, so it's 11:09. That means I am a little late to the wrap-up chat. I do apologize for that. In case you're new or just need a refresher, the way the wrap-up chat works is I'm first going to give a brief summary of what all I got done, with a little bit of the how, a little bit of the why. Because accountability. You see me on the screen and you also see what I'm doing on the screen, but also you don't see everything I'm doing on the screen, both for avoiding previously published issues when submitting works to various places, and also with whatchamacallit, just some things I'm doing by hand rather than on the computer, because it helps me to think things through if I'm physically writing them or drawing them rather than typing everything. So, then after the brief summary, I'm going to pop into the chats to see what all you have logged in terms of what you got done, a little bit of the how, a little bit of the why. And so I'm going to check in on that, check in on your side of the accountability, and also whether you were writing along or just watching along, now is a good time to put into the chat any comments or questions you have regarding your creative projects, my creative projects, and the creative process in general. While I'm doing my brief summary. All right, so brief summary, here it goes. First, I went into the Facebook group and I did my usual rotation of the journaling prompts. Woohoo! Everything's queuing up nicely. So I've got journaling prompts up to the 1st of August, which means all the journaling prompts for July are set. I do like to make sure that I have the journaling prompts, seven prompts scheduled in the queue, in the group. That way, if anything comes up, like with the recent confusion of the new work schedule, that is still a little bit up in the air for me with the new job. While that's getting all settled, things come up in life. It's nice to be able to get things done ahead of time and have them scheduled. And so, did the journaling prompt. So there's a new one in the group now if you want to check bit.ly/TheGoldenGooseEggs with the first letter of each word capitalized, or you can just go to Facebook and search The Golden Goose Eggs and it will take you to the group. Then I queued up my next 2 buffer postings, which will go to the project page for the Golden Goose Eggs website rather than the website itself, because it's important when you have an online presence to have a sort of central focus for that online presence, which is why I set up my website, my central website, better-storytelling.com, to link to all of my projects wherever they may be. That way when I want to share those projects, I'm always sharing a link to my central website so that people can see, oh, this person does a lot of things. They do so many things. So they can find exactly what it is that they're looking for, because I am linking to the central project page that links to where they want to go. And also I'm making sure that they're seeing there is one centralized location for all the things that I create, which is important for audience building in order to make sure everybody knows where everything is. Then I wrote my daily blog post, which cross-posts on Better Storytelling site and my Medium profile, and that was a little bit about what is distracting me this morning as I stayed up till midnight when I don't usually do that, staring at a screen, which is that I got the iPad 6 and Apple Pencil, which you've probably been seeing me play with the whole time. Because it is new, it is a little bit of a distraction, but even though it is a distraction, because I specifically got it to be more productive, as much as I've been playing with it, all the playing that's been happening is still in service to the larger staying on top of things, staying organized, staying just squared away with where I need to be in order to get things done on my projects in general, so that ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum. It's like, basically I got the iPad to replace this huge binder with its hundreds of pages, right? I can't go around, I can't carry this everywhere, especially during the summer when it gets really hot, or if I'm going out grocery shopping. And my journaling, I've noticed here at home where I use the journal, so much more has gotten done, so much more organization has happened. It's a lot easier for me to maintain the various things going on in my household now that I, like, as I've been iterating and iterating and iterating on my journal. It was, an actual small, the early iterations were actual notebooks like this, and this was actually I had, the first two were like the one I just showed you. The third journal is like this. And then for the last year or so, because I think I got through the first year, or I got just through 9 months. Like, each of these books ended up holding 3 months in them for me. That's right, 3 months. So to save on having to buy journals regularly, I switched to a loose leaf system where I was actually, cords, where I was actually printing my own loose leaf. And then printing my own grid leaf, which is loose leaf that I designed, grid style, but still with like the loose leaf type margins for my journaling purposes. And so basically I wrote my blog post today about how I'm not gushing yet about the iPad. I really want to gush, but it's very early days yet. And by early days, I actually mean it arrived in the mail yesterday, and then I stayed up till midnight playing with it and getting it all squared away so that I could jump into journaling with it today. And so I have jumped into journaling with it, and now I'm seeing how I can also get more analog, even as I'm staying digital, with handling my ongoing projects like the Penrose Trekkie and the Golden Goose Eggs, and also planning other projects, because like, it's something that I avoided doing in this journal because it would just be more pages, more shuffling in terms of, all right, so where do each of these tabs go, and so what is each of these sections for in my notebook. And now I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to, worry about how clunky this, I don't have to worry about how much paper is being used because it's digital. It's just as analog as paper. So that's hope number one. Hope number two is that I'll be able to take this out and about in the real world, unlike that big honky thing. And like, I have my calendar pages and such in here all squared away, at least the ones that I need immediately. And so hopefully this will do what I need it to do in terms of allowing my number one OCD management tool of journaling to grow. And so today's blog post was about that hope, that I'm really hoping that this was a smart investment. Really, really am. Then I reworked the goodie list yet again for the Penrose Trekkie, and I'll be working on the Penrose Trekkie more this afternoon. Part of getting my work schedule squared away is also squaring away a different writing schedule for the Penrose Trekkie project, including when I work on the mission reports, or rather how I work on the mission reports, because in order to continue work on the PenroseTrekkie.com, I have to watch the series, all the series, write sonnets for them, and then write the blog post connecting the dots between what I saw and what I compose. And I can't be live streaming while I'm watching Star Trek. There's all sorts of copyright issues that could very easily, in order to not have an issue of copyright infringement, it would just be me on the screen, not sharing my screen, probably wearing earbuds so that you can't even you can't see or hear Star Trek, but then I'm just sitting here and you're just watching me watch TV, and that doesn't actually make any friggin' sense. It makes a kind of a sense, but it's not the kind of sense that I want my work to make. I want my work to be the work that when you see me. Anywho, so working on having the Penrose Trekkie be an afternoon thing. That way I can concentrate on the golden goose eggs during the morning writing, especially since there's a lot more work. There's a lot more intensive work to do on the morning on the golden goose eggs items. And also being able to square away when and how I work on short stories that I plan on submitting to other places. So you see, here's like the number one, like the way I start the video, my intro wrap. And then I also have this where I make a note in the side here, currently using a typewriter to avoid spoilers. That might be changed to currently using iPad to avoid spoilers. Or issues of being previously published. So there are things that I work on that I don't screen share. I haven't actually switched the screen yet. So this is the screen I use when I have been working on the typewriter in the past. I might use it as I continue doing things using the iPad in the future. And it's just like it has that little message on the side to let you know that some things I'm not going to be able to screen share just because I want to be able to get them published elsewhere. And actually I have 2 deadlines coming up. The end of the month of this month has 2 deadlines. One, getting in a story to EAP, the magazine, which is Exterminating Angel Press. I'm a contributing writer over there. And then also the 5th annual awards for the Fairy Tale Review is going to be closing at the end of this month. And I have so many ideas for their pink issue, and I really need to get on them. So it's really important now to start migrating the Penrose Trekkie toward my afternoon writing, which doesn't get screen shared for the same reason that sometimes you're going to see a video of me just journaling on my iPad or typing on my typewriter, or even typing on the iPad, because then I don't have to transcribe it into the computer because it just shares over. So there's that. Yeah. Go back to screen share. So I reworked the goodie list. I got some preliminary planning work done for the Tribble Nursery Rhymes that I'm going to be working on more this afternoon as I get my afternoon Penrose Trekkie time squared away. And as part of that, I went and working in Journal to Grease Wheels for afternoon. It feels weird to me to call this an iPad because I'm mostly going to be using it for journaling, so I'll probably just keep referring to it as my journal. My journal, my bullet journal, my planner, as it gets more into the Mastercat Master Planner, as I square away my my templates for using the GoodNotes app. So that's yeah, so I created a separate notebook for the Penrose Trekkie, and then I have my bullet journal, and GoodNotes does a tabbed window, so I can just pop back and forth between the Penrose Trekkie, where I'm starting to plan the calendar, and go into error so I don't accidentally write on the page, and then here on what is that? Did that accidentally just create a second options? Yeah, it accidentally created 2 pages. Okay, so I'm just going to... No, I want, for Christmas sake. That one extra cover page. I do like that it does extra cover pages. That's kind of cool. I'll have to remember that as like a semi-tab situation, maybe in the Penrose Trekkie notebook, so that it looks like a collection of notebooks, each with different sections for each of the different series as I work on them. La di da di da di da. All right, so yeah, so I have that pretty much squared away in terms of how I'm going to be using things. And now it's just getting into the habit of it and letting the new toy-ness wear off. So work in Alright, so check that item off the list. That is the warning timer. We are late to the wrap-up chat, and I used up what time there was just doing my brief summary. So we're going to go ahead and use the wiggle room today, which means we have another 20 minutes for the wrap-up chat. Hooray for schedules, said the dork. So, now that I have given you my brief summary, it's time for me to respond to all comments and questions in the chat. Both what you've logged in terms of what you've gotten done and what you have to say about your work, my work, and the creative process in general. And it looks like there's nothing in the chat. And as such, I'm actually going to go ahead and rather than come up with some random thing to rant about, I'm going to go ahead and do the wrap-up spiel because I have more work to do in terms of getting ready for the afternoon and in just beginning those early stages of iterating on my general productivity tools in order to start making the most of my afternoons pretty much immediately, but in a low-key way because today is a rest day, as I like to call it. Which means I may have to rethink what day each month I do the mission report. Maybe the first, not rest day, but make space day. Because I'm just kind of getting it out of the way so then I can jump into other things, just kind of wrapping up. That's a good day to have Penrose Trekkie things on. All right, so thank you very much for joining me today. I'm Roaster Music, your live stream writing accountability partner here most mornings from 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for 2 hours of live stream writing accountability, followed by our half-hour max to share what you did wrap up chat. And I strongly encourage you to come back in the future and let me know any comments and any questions you have regarding your creative projects, my creative projects, and the creative process in general. Because the more we can talk about what it is we're working on and how it is we're working on it, the more we can iterate on the stories that we're telling and make them better, whether it's stories we tell ourselves, stories we tell each other, or the stories we're telling together as a collective, as a community, as a family, as a society. And little by little, build a better world through better storytelling. That's my hope anyway. Thank you very much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next time, which should be tomorrow. Good journey, my friends.